So we are going to be running Zelda 2, and we're going to have live musical accompaniment from Must Be Tuesday music. And Enchantress of Numbers is going to be doing some commentary while we're going. And it's going to be a very interesting thing. This is actually one of the most challenging things I've done in speedrunning because we're coordinating what songs, when to switch songs and all of that. And it's going to be really interesting. All right, I'm going to let Eon take over talking for the rest of the run.
Yeah, we should mention the wonderful friend who made the patch for the ROM as well.
Yes, Devin, a tiny fairy, patched the ROM to patch out all the music so that we could do this with game audio and the music coming from the piano. And it was really, really awesome of Devin to do that. Thank you so much. I see a tiny fairy in chat. That is who did it. Thank you so much. And with that, over to you, Eon, and we'll be getting started in just a second.
Okay. And I think we're going to start with just a little bit of the title music, and then we'll get right into 100% no major glitches. All right, that was some awesome title music, and now I guess I can count it down if we want to get started. So 3, 2, 1. All right, time starts on control, which is now. Meg's going right away to get the magic container, and this run does allow up A, so she'll be making liberal use of that as a save and quit. Making her way to get the trophy for the jump spell. And now headed over to the town of Ruto for the jump spell. One thing Must Be Tuesday did tell me was that this town theme is actually one of the hardest songs to play because it's quite long and varied. But fortunately, Meg doesn't spend very long in the towns. And now that little bit of collection is over with. Meg's going to be making her way down towards Death Mountain. So even though this is 100%, Dark Death Mountain is still part of the run, so... and those gorillas that Meg's fighting right now are very random, whether they throw the boomerang high or low, and they're really difficult to read in the dark like that, so getting through the first one without taking damage is pretty awesome. Nicely done through Jump Cave. That's really pretty difficult. Alright, and now making her way over to Bagoo. And now back to, on the bridge to Saria for the life spell. I should mention the arrangement of this town theme was done by Brassman388, which I think can be found at ninsheetmusic.org. And there are actually 11 songs in Zelda 2, but 4 of them only occur one time. The title theme, Great Palace, Zelda's Awakening, and the end credits. Should also mention that the official sheet music book for the Zelda series only contains 2 Zelda 2 songs, and one of them has errors in it, so Must Be Tuesday found the pieces in various places online and altered some of them to make them easier to learn to play. They've been learning the Zelda 2 music for about 2 months, and they're a songwriter, voice actor. This is their first video game speedrunning event. So now we're in Death Mountain, and this is an area where the music changes a lot, so Must Be Tuesday is just gonna keep playing the battle cave music the whole time, because that would be a lot of music transitions otherwise. And these moblins with the bots are real difficult in the dark, because those bots move randomly and you can only barely see the bottoms of them interacting with the floor. The Guria cooperated there, that can be a little bit annoying. This next cave can be pretty annoying. There's 2 bots and 3 bats, and you really want to kill at least... well, since Meg didn't kill any of them, there's an... Oh, the orange Dyra didn't despawn. Usually if you don't kill anything, it despawns. Which can be problematic in other categories, but in this one there's actually a fair amount of experience since Meg is going to be targeting Attack 3, Magic 1, and Life 2. at the hammer. So and here we'll see our first of the red Dairas. They don't glow in the dark like the orange Dairas do, so they can be a bit harder to deal with. There's also some bots jumping around. And you may have noticed the orange enemies are visible in the dark, and that's because they actually use the same color palette as the items, like the magic jar and the trophy that we already saw picked up in the dark and could be seen. Okay, there's some bats flying there that make it a little bit difficult to see. Okay, so that death was unfortunate, but it's likely not that big of a deal, because with the save and quit from up A, Meg has lives to spare, and after she gets through this part, she'll be using the up A, so... Making it through there without taking damage is really nice. So Meg leaves and re-enters the cave like that to despawn a red Daira at the entrance. Since she really only needs to get 79 XP, which there's plenty of XP to do that in this cave. Trying to get beam back for those Meg mats is important. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out. They can be a little bit tricky. And a red Daira, this will give Meg attack 3. And you really want to take out that Daira, because when you come back, you'll get an X to the face if you don't. Meg leaving and re-entering this room. I don't know why it does it, but there's an orange Daira near the beginning that gets despawned when you do that as well, so... And Meg intentionally skipping the red Daira for an intentional death to save just a little bit of time backtracking. Now we gotta backtrack to get out of here. We've got the hammer, which means we can, Meg can break boulders on the overworld. And the first place we're gonna use it is Spectacle Rock. And fun fact, this area here is actually the overworld from Zelda 1, just in like a zoomed out format, which is kind of cool when if you look at a map, comparing the two, you can really see it. And that was an excellent run through Death Mountain. Pretty much could not have gone better, so really awesome to see. Now Meg is going to get the Water of Life, or sometimes called the Medicine, which is used to the medicine is required to get the fairy spell, and in most Zelda 2 runs other than 100% all keys, the main goal is to get the fairy spell as fast as possible. Jumping over these Dairas here because don't really need to mess with them. Ooh. That was a little bit scary, but well done. And now that we've got the medicine, we can go to the town of Mito and get both the downstab technique and the fairy spell, which fairy is real important. We use it to fairy through doors. And I should mention the house theme that we're hearing now was arranged by Zimbabwe from ninsheetmusic.org. Downstab is everyone's favorite sword technique. And I should probably explain what all is required in 100%. That means you have to get every spell in the game, you have to get both the up and down stab sword techniques, you have to beat every palace and place every gem, and you have to get all overworld permanent items, and I think that's everything. Dungeon keys are not required in this. That would be 100% all keys is the category that requires all dungeon keys. And yes, this is Eon doing commentary. Right, and time for the shield spell. The shield spell is important. It halves the damage that you take from enemies. So yeah, NMG or no major glitches lets you do some things not allowed in 100% all keys. It lets you do the fairy feet glitch, and it lets you fly through doors as a fairy, so you don't have to collect all the keys. After that up A, now Meg is going to go directly to Palace 2. So that'll be our first taste of the Palace music. I'm excited to hear it. Burying in the HUD would be considered a major glitch. Yeah, that's a swamp walk that... What I was saying, the swamp walk getting into here can be really difficult to avoid encounters because the swamp slows down Link's speed by half, but the overworld enemies are not slowed at all, so... Meg's going to be doing a lot of combat in this palace to get 2 attack levels. Wisely taking her time to avoid those bots that can... Oh! This room is one of the most hated rooms by speedrunners for that very reason. The bot movement is very random and it can be real easy to get knocked off into the lava. Casting Fairy through there is a smart choice. If you speedrun this game long enough, you'll have many runs end to that, so... Meg making her way to get the palace item, which is the power glove or the handy glove, which lets you break these falling bricks right here in this room. And then anywhere else you see those bricks. So that bot despawned the red iron knuckle. Meg's going back to try to respawn it. Because experience is pretty tight in this palace to get up to attack 5. So fun fact about those falling blocks, Link can actually break them in the air before getting the power glove. But now it doesn't matter, you can break them anywhere. And that P-bag really helps for experience. And that Moa dropping the fire can make this room a lot more annoying than it feels like it should be. The blue Stalfos can jump, and that makes them a little bit annoying when you do have to take them out. Well done through that room. It's real easy to take a lot of damage from those turrets in there. Here we've got our Hammer Brother, or Doom Rattler as we call them. Meg digging down for a red jar, probably, which is smart because she needs to fly through a locked door coming up, so it's either get the jar or take an intentional death. Attack 4, so now the boss gives 200 XP, so she is all set up to abuse the gem for maximum XP. This is Helmet Head. The 2 helmets fly off, and then they'll fly around spinning projectiles at you. They actually do less damage than the projectiles from Helmet Head himself, so... Right, perfect. So now, when you place the gem at the end of a palace, it automatically gives you experience up to the next level. Which is why Meg always wants to have that be attack for maximum experience. That was Palace 2, and now Meg's gonna make her way up to the Parappa Desert for Palace 1. This is normally the first place you would go playing this game, but in this speedrun we come to it a bit later. And while we're here, I'll mention that the palace theme is actually a combination of two arrangements. One of them from Stephen Corley of musescore.com, and another from the Deku Trombonist from ninsheetmusic.org. I believe Meg is taking some intentional damage there. There might be a death abuse coming up. These skulls can be annoying if you don't know the trick to manipulating their position. But thankfully, Meg's got the fairy spell, so she won't actually have to collect any keys in this palace, which is nice. Well-timed magic level up. And now we'll finally have light in the caves. But yeah, as you can see with skipping all these keys, that's the reason why getting the fairy spell as quickly as possible is actually faster. So that was a little manipulation to manipulate the fast-moving skull bubble into not giving Meg any trouble there. And Horsehead gives only 50 experience, so Meg needs to get up to 250 experience before the boss fight, and well-timed intentional death. Right, so now Meg has all the experience she needs. Just flies right past that Doom Rattler and Iron Knuckle. And here is Horsehead. It's unfortunate that the boss fight is so fast at Attack 5 we hardly got to hear the music, but we'll get to hear more of it later.
Would now be a good time for a donation while we're between palace scenes here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We have $269 from CD6 that says, "What a lovely way to do a speedrun. Thanks and congrats to all the runners, commentators, and others who work tirelessly and sometimes tiredly through this weekend. And a special thanks to Must Be Tuesday for the beautiful music." And I can't stress that enough either. Thank you so much, CD6, for that nice donation. We also have $30 from Pixel Dollhouse that says, super excited to watch the Zelda 2 run in musical showcase. Happy Pride Month and save the animals. And $20 from Jasmine, who says, thank you for helping all of us. And again, wonderful job so far. Back to y'all.
Thank you so much for all those wonderful donations. I should explain one thing that Meg did there was a glitch known as the fairy feet glitch. When she entered the bubble encounter, did some one-frame taps to get out of bounds by a single frame, and then tap back in the opposite direction because the game only looks at the player's X velocity to decide which end of the encounter to spit you out on. It feels a little bit like a screen wrap, but it's fundamentally a bit different. And that King's Tomb where Meg just fell down, there's actually a hint in the game if you go back to talk to Error. Someone tells you Error has a message for you, and he gives you a hint about south of King's Tomb, which was where Meg ducked into. And into Palace 3, the Island Palace. This is where Meg will be getting the raft, which will open up a whole second continent to us. And everyone's favorite boss, Rebenak. So the Rebel Knuckle, as I believe it's what that was intended to be. Since he's an iron knuckle riding a mechanical horse. I think it was supposed to be like a motorcycle. That Mew got in the way a little bit. Nice recovery, though. And this is another place where experience can be a little bit tight. That's why Meg went back for the 50-point P-bag, because she actually wants to get Magic 3 as well, and then also be able to get Attack 7 from the gem at the end of the palace. So. Yeah, that other P-bag is for 100, and that's really more than I think you would... It would take more time to dig to that P-bag than it would actually save. So... And of course the Never Jar is never a jar. That statue is a 50-50 chance of being a red jar or an iron knuckle, but it feels like 80-20 on iron knuckle first. So because of that, Meg's gotta now either take a death or... yeah, she's taking a death on this iron knuckle, the refill magic. Yeah, that's what MBT, or Must Be Tuesday, told me, was they'd been learning this for about 2 months now, so... And another note about the music that Must Be Tuesday gave me was that some of the songs include sections with completely different rhythms played simultaneously, For example, eighth notes on the left hand and triplets on the right hand, and gives the overworld, the house, and the palace as examples of those. So they said they're sure there are humans that can do this, but they are not one of them, so they changed those bits a little bit. Meg's standing in a specific spot to get the Rebanak to turn around right there. Unfortunately, Rebanak did not cooperate and stay in the corner. If he does, you can actually just downstab him the whole way and take him out, so. Right, now letting the experience tick up to 5,000 before the save and quit. And now we get to finally see what the whole second continent of Eastern Hyrule has in store. So this should be good. This walk from the raft can be a little bit frustrating. It can be sometimes difficult to avoid the encounters. Smartly refilling life. For that very reason, having Beam in this cave makes it so much easier. One thing to note is in the forest out there, the enemies spawn closer to you than they spawn when you're like on the grass or on the desert tiles, so it makes them a bit harder to avoid. Since Meg did not have the fairy spell to cast while picking up the kid to save that little fanfare, she smartly took out that orange Lizalfos, because otherwise, while you're holding up the kid, that Lizalfos will come and start bullying you while you're in the item pickup pose. Meg skipping the one-up for later, but setting up the Dazzle Walk. Is an overworld encounter manipulation to try to get all the way across here without an encounter. And very well done. Yeah, that was the kidnapped child. But these encounters can be a little bit difficult to skip sometimes if the overworld encounters don't want to be cooperative. And that kidnapped child was for allowing us to get the reflect spell in this town of Darunia. Using the fairy claws glitch, if you hold down while casting the fairy spell, the game preserves the crouch state as a fairy and lets you get down the chimney. After getting the reflect spell, it turns out there's a long way to walk. So Meg's actually going to up A from the reflect spell. and then make her way back to to the maze for Palace 4. While we're doing this, I'll mention this overworld theme was arranged by Yale Ensminger of youtube.com/Yale Scores. And those Tektites behaved really nicely there. Yeah, just to reiterate, this is Must Be Tuesday playing the music live on piano, while Meg Mac Attack is doing the speedrun. Now Meg's getting the 1-up. Because Palace 4 can have some required death abuses if you don't get good drops, so... And so we had to go that way to get the magic container, because all magic containers are required to get all the spells. But also it turns out taking what appears to be the longest way through the maze actually has the fewest of these forced encounter tiles, so even though it looks like Meg could walk a shorter distance, this is actually the fastest route. So here is Palace 4, and Palace 4 is really cool because Meg will actually be going to the boss first before getting the palace item. So it's the only palace where she'll be doing that this run, and it works out that way nicely just because the palace is really divided into two halves, so it's real easy to do it this way. And so Meg coming this way to get an extra key just to help save, try to save a death abuse. Clipped into the block there, that's pretty cool. And we call these the Minecraft rooms. I believe, I'll just mention it now, the boss theme that we'll hear very soon was arranged by Fierce Deity of ninsheetmusic.org. Now Meg's actually gonna go take a dip in the lava because she needs fairy on the next screen. And So she's going to need 399 XP before the boss fight, and then we'll also need to refill magic again to be able to cast the reflect spell, because it takes 5 boxes of magic at this point. This boss is very random. The first hit on the boss is actually guaranteed if you do it just right. Just keep walking and duck. But then after that, it's all random, so we just stay in the corner. And that was a really nice end to that fight. Right, now Meg's perfectly set up for attack 8. And now making her way back in, this time going to the right half of the palace to get the boots, and then she'll up A after that, so. Nice bouncing off of those armored Stalfos. They're in kind of an awkward spot. They can jump out of there, but they're a little awkward to try to actually fight. Nice hot strats on that skull bubble. So now done with the Maze Island Palace, and we've got those boots, which basically let Link walk on certain water tiles, and so Meg will be using these to find Palace 5. Palace 5 is actually, outside of Great Palace, it is the largest palace of the main 6. It's the largest palace that we'll go into first. I forgot, Meg's got to go into Naburu to get the fire spell. It's everyone's favorite spell. Oh, Zora Link there. A little glitch from casting a spell and then talking to someone while the flash animation is happening. And what Meg had to do there was go over to the fountain to get some water because the woman walking out front said she was thirsty. And there's some debate among the community as to why she can't just walk those 12 steps to get the water herself. But I'll just leave it at that. Palace 5, also known as the Green One. Coming up in the next room is a possible damage boost known as the Eco Key. don't think Meg does it though. It's pretty difficult, and it loses more time than not attempting it if you miss it. It only saves about 12 seconds, so... Now she's gonna go back and get the key. So yeah, I guess one thing I didn't mention, the title theme arrangement was arranged by EGAD Industries and Retro Parodies of ninsheetmusic.org. Getting this key can be a little frustrating if the blocks don't cooperate since they're RNG. Oh, nicely avoiding the fire on the floor. So Meg getting that key because it's not very far out of the way and it saves some magic casts. So basically it makes getting a couple of keys in here makes it quite a bit safer because you don't have to take as many death abuses. Since she's already taken all the levels I believe she's going to for this palace. But then we'll see a pretty awesome thing with the levels after placing the gem. But Meg is making her way to the palace item, which is the flute. And the flute is used for two things. One, the River Devil hates music, so we'll use it to clear the big spider-looking thing blocking our path after the palace. And it helps us find the Palace 6, the hidden palace. Although I should point out that it's called a flute, but it is flared out like a trumpet, so there's some debate as to what the instrument actually is. Also, some people think it's a plunger. Yeah, some people talking about it in chat, that blue iron knuckle that we just passed in the Japanese Famicom Disk System version. There's actually a horse head refight in that room rather than a blue iron knuckle. Now we're on our way up to the boss of the palace, Boss Guma, who, in my opinion, is the hardest boss in the game. Meg might disagree with me, but with all these spells, that shouldn't be too bad. Guma does hit hard, though. taken... Ooh. With only 2 bars of health, Uma can be a bit rough. Now with all the full life and magic, should be no problem. There we go. Nicely done. Now it's time for the Ocean Heart. So we're almost got all of the overworld permanent items. Now Meg is gonna try to do an overworld encounter manipulation known as the River Dance, where she's gonna take an extra step and with a slight pause. Okay. I think her D-pad might have stuck, which is unfortunate. So it's an encounter manipulation to try to set up an encounter skip after the River Devil. Oh, unfortunately, trying to get that encounter skip was not able to. So Meg's gonna try a fairy feat. Unfortunately, does not get the fairy feat. It's real easy to accidentally push a little bit too long on the D-pad when you're trying to do those one-frame taps. Thought Meg might try a second time for the fairy feat, but did not. And I guess I don't blame her with that Zora in there. That encounter can be a little bit frustrating if you have to go through it without fairy. Gotta go to the new Kasuto, or hidden town of Kasuto. This is another area that's can be difficult to avoid encounters because they like to spawn real close to you in the forest. The 3 tile types where they spawn close are forest. Hey, we're seeing the fire spell, which is the only way to damage these Tektites. But the forest, the graveyard, and the lava tiles are the only place to... those are the tiles where the enemies spawn closer to you. And that red jar was really nice. The red jar that Meg got in the cave means she doesn't have to talk to the magic refill lady in this town. So here we get 3 things. We get the spell, the spell named spell. We also get the magic key and the last magic container. So the spell does some cool things. It lets you find the building that has the magic key and around a lot of enemies, it turns into bots, which you would think, as I said before, that bots are disliked for how random they are. They can be better than some other enemies, so... And this is the only town that has only one entrance and one exit. Every other town is two-sided that way, but as a result, since we have to go all the way through it and then all the way back out, this is the town you spend the longest amount of time in. We're going to get the last of the overworld collectibles here very soon, which is the final heart container. One thing I did not mention about what constitutes 100%, maxing out the levels is not included in what is considered 100%, so Meg's final levels will likely be 886. Oh, nice backspawn there. Fortunately, didn't get such good luck the second time. And there we go, the Three-Eye Rock Palace. All that remains to be collected are the cross from this palace, which lets you see flying blue moas, and it, which are these eyeball enemies we'll see soon. Because obviously we can't see them yet. Meg doing a damage boost across that pit found by speedrunner GTM. It's a pretty cool damage boost. Because that's a 4-tile gap, which you can jump without the jump spell, but that's very tight, so... Those skull bubbles are frustrating because when they hit you, they not only take life, but they also take magic. So up here is what is called the Canadian hole. It's an invisible pit in the floor. Meg just jumped over it. It was named the Canadian hole because during a tournament, a bunch of Canadians fell into it, and one of them named it that. Oh, there's the corner strats for Rebenak on the refight. Unfortunately, he did not cooperate for the downstab kill, so... but we'll be seeing one more Rebenak refight in this palace. This is really the only palace in this version that has any sort of a mini-boss. Magic is kind of tight. Let's hope Meg gets... Oh, very good. That was a really good red jar because magic can be very tight in this palace. And with getting a couple of bops from the skull bubbles, that can really make things problematic later, so. Now we're back in the WizCon room. Honestly, though, that was a really nice Wizrobe room with only taking one beam hit. And Jackhammer is really nice on those blue iron knuckles. Meg's been doing that all run. So here we have these sine wave flying unicorns over the lava pits. So this is a real tough room to do quickly. So actually most speedrunners will stop and kill those horse heads there, unicorn heads as we call them, just because it's real dangerous otherwise. This is another room, the first of two rooms in the palace that are fairy required, because apparently there is a way that I've seen a task get all the way across this room without casting fairy, but it's a little bit ridiculous. I don't think a human could do it. And there's one more fairy required room coming up after this Revenak refight. Three Revenaks, none of them cooperating for the corner kill. So here, this is one that's when you don't know that it's there, and if you don't have any magic left, it can be real frustrating to fly by and see that. So here's Barba. There's a cool manipulation. If you don't stop on your way in, you can guarantee Barba will spawn in the rightmost pit. And it should be noted, this is a different sprite for the boss from the Japanese version, and that the enemy behaves differently too. Right. Now it's on to get the final spell, the Thunder Spell. And now Meg just has to get 500 XP to get a Magic 8. So this flying purple Moa there, you would not see if you didn't have the cross. That's now with that Meg has collected everything required for 100%. All that's left is to make her way to Great Palace and take on Thunderbird and Dark Link. So after going over a couple of bridges here and through a cemetery or graveyard, there will be the Valley of Death, which is one of the most dangerous parts of the run done casually. The speedrun has some strats to make it a bit easier. Particularly using the spell. that can be a real tricky encounter skip to get. Nicely done. Meg also scrolling the screen when she missed it to try not to despawn this red jar, which was nicely done. Turning those flying MOAs into bots is really nice, and you would not be able to see these MOAs without the cross that was picked up in Palace 6. And because this is going so quickly in and out of these encounters, Must Be Tuesday is opting to stick with just the battle music, rather than switching back and forth every single time. We are coming up on Great Palace, and I for one am real excited to hear the Great Palace theme.
Do we have a time for a couple donations before the Great Palace?
Yes, of course.
All right, we have $50 from Clan Weakest that says, amazing Zelda 2 run, Meg, and fun and fantastic live music, Must Be Tuesday. Congratulations and cheers to everyone playing and working so hard today for such a fantastic cause. Happy Pride, everybody. And $30 from Mayali. Thank you so much for your donation as well. And again, let's hear it for Must Be Tuesday, Eon and Meg so far. This is a fantastic run. And remember, all of this is benefiting the Trevor Project. So please, there are some bids coming up. Save versus Kill and Super Metroid. We'll get into totals a little bit later. And then the good versus evil sprites for Zelda 1 Randomizer. And good luck with the Great Palace, Meg and Eon. Thank you so much again for your commentary. And Tuesday, thank you for your lovely music. Back to you.
All right, thanks. And thank you all for the wonderful donations. And I will just second that the gameplay has been great and the music is outstanding. Here we go, Meg getting Magic 8, which is great because I believe she's going to up A at the Great Palace entrance, the one place where doing an up A does not take you back to the beginning. And I'll mention this Great Palace theme was arranged by Yale Ensminger at youtube.com/Yale Scores. This on the Famicom Disk System version, this Great Palace was housed entirely on its own side of the disc, which is why then it has like enemies that you don't see anywhere else, and it has its own music and everything. It's really cool. So we call those spicy chickens. The bird enemies in this palace have their own name, or have real names, but they can be easily mispronounced, so we call them bird knights and spicy chickens. That bird knight behaving pretty well, just getting out of Meg's way. That's really the story of speedrunning Great Palace for the most part, is you pretty much just want to ignore the enemies to the best of your ability. Pushing the bird or the spicy chicken off the edge of the screen, not a bad strategy. Meg gonna go get this red jar. It's a 50-50 chance for being a red jar or a bird knight, so a red bird knight. Casting jump here, there's a cool thing you can, if you jump at the right spot and you hit the blocks the right way, you can sort of gives Link a little bit of a boost that you can, in one jump, break 2 blocks and get up onto the 5th tile. Just like that. When it counted, Meg got it, so... The spicy chickens can be real frustrating because their fire can do all sorts of things after it lands. So, Blue Bird Knight, kind of in Terminator mode. Meg getting a fairy for a health refill. Can't say I blame her. Just adds a little bit of safety. Oh, nice skip on that spicy chicken. Oh, another hidden floor pit. And that king bot or boss bot gets most people the first time they get through there. Here we go into Thunderbird. So the penultimate boss, but really the true final boss. So Meg casting the full complement of spells that you can with Magic 8. Oh, yes. Did Meg not cast the jump spell? Seems opting for just pendulum strats rather than the jump spell. But you can keep Thunderbird in this pendulum pattern, which is a great way to take him out when you don't have the jump spell cast. But the reflect spell is important because it lets your shield block the fireballs and shrinks your hitbox. Very nice fight. On to the Dark Link fight. This upcoming song was arranged by Fierce Deity of ninsheetmusic.org. Meg opting to fight Dark Link straight up with the fire swag, not even casting shield. Oh, you're too far away. Dark Link's AI only engages when you're so close to him. There are corner strats that make this fight quite a bit easier, and I think Meg's going to try to do them now. And here we go. Excellent fight. That's time. Very well done, Meg. Excellent music. Must be Tuesday. This Zelda's Awakening theme was arranged by EGAD Industries and retro parodies of ninsheetmusic.org. recorded this. The end credits theme was arranged by the Deku trombonist of ninsheetmusic.org. And once again, very nicely done, Meg. This run could not have gone better, I think. Thanks a million.
And also, too, thanks to you as well, Ian, for providing fantastic commentary throughout this entire run.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Must Be Tuesday. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can, Tuesday.
Hi.
Fantastic music. It sounded beautiful the whole way through.
Thank
It
you
did.
so much. It was so much fun. This was such a fun project. We've been working on it for like 2 months, I think, and it's been really challenging, but really fun. And I want to say thank you so much to Power Up with Pride for letting us do this. I've never actually heard of anyone doing live music accompaniment to a speedrun before. It was Meg's idea, and and I really, really loved it a lot. And thank you, Ian, for commentating too. I didn't manage to hear you because I was listening to myself, but I'm going to listen back, and I know you know this run really well, so that's I really appreciate it. I Must Be Tuesday on Twitter, and I usually do my own songs. I don't usually do a lot of other people's songs, and this was really difficult piano, so so it's been a great challenge.
You played it very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who's watching and chatting, and I'm really I've been enjoying the comments that people have been making, that they're looking forward to this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what people said in the chat too.
Thank you so much again, Tuesday, for all of your hard work, and I think you'll very much enjoy the re-listen through as well. Everything was spot on. Eon read or did commentary, excuse me, in such a way where it was wonderful, and I read donations very, very quiet to make sure we could get the best of your music. So again, shout outs to Eon's tone as well. It went right with the music because I was listening to the recording myself as we were going through, and
Awesome.
again, while the charity and all of that is so important, I want to make sure that I pick times where we could continue to have that music just playing as much as possible. Not that the donations were not important; they were very important. but I was so captivated by the music. I'm like, okay, I pre-picked my spots ahead of time where I want to make sure we can fully hear the music.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you to everyone who donated. That's fantastic. It turns out playing the piano is work. I have a sore left arm now, and just thank you again to Power Up with Pride and to everyone who donated and watched.
We hope to see you again in the future, Tuesday. That was beautiful, and I could only imagine I was thinking the performance a bunch of other games too that you sound beautiful during. So we hope to see you again in the future. But Zelda 2 was a fantastic selection, and again, thanks to Meg McIntyre.